website just to switch it up on you guys a little bit. I know I always do Bleacher Report, but this time I'm doing NBC Sports. I actually have no idea which ones are like the more reliable ones, but this one just came out a handful of hours before this video came out. This article's written, so it's the most up-to-date one I could find. So, and it's NBC. It's pretty, I guess, reliable. I guess. So, in last place, according to NBC Sports, the worst team in the entire NBA right now, at 30, the Orlando Magic. Yes, Orlando is ranked last. They are right now 4-16 on the year. Now, I think talent-wise, Orlando isn't at the worst place. I'll just say they have the worst luck right now. Mostly because their, next star guy, the next cornerstone, Jalen Suggs, just got injured and he's going to be out for probably a pretty good amount of time. Not because it is a serious injury, it's a thumb injury, but because it is their up-and-coming rookie. They definitely take these early injuries in his career very seriously. And the fact that Suggs is hurt, Isaac's hurt, Markel Fultz is still missing. Man, that entire Magic organization, they need to, no offense to the organization, but man, I think they need to start firing some of their health people. I'm not even trying to be like that type of guy, but I think it's time to look inward on why their players are just getting derailed. That has to be something, Are they last? I think yes. Not because talent-wise they're the worst, but man, they just have the worst luck in a team that's also pretty bad. In 29th place, we have the Detroit Pistons sitting at 4-17 as well. Actually, no, Magic were 4-16. They're 4-17, so one game worse apparently. Detroit is in a weird spot because they should won. I won't say 1,000,000%, but definitely like 1,000% should be better. They have, Sadiq Bey, Cade Cunningham, obviously Jeremy Grant. Like, that team should be way better in a position. I think they should be at least maybe even like playing for like a play-in spot, potentially like a 10th seed Zion came back relatively soon, they could maybe compete for like a play-in 10-9 spot. But man, I have no idea what's even going on with that team anymore. I've always loved watching the Pelicans. You know, even last year they were a really fun team to watch, but they just can't get it started, and it really sucks because obviously that big trading away Anthony Davis, there was this humongous buzz around the Pelicans, and it's just on a downhill, man. I mean, it's sad to watch because it's an exciting team with good young players. They just can't finally get it going, and it really sucks. At 25, we have the 8-14 Sacramento Kings at 25. Interesting. It does say here that Sacramento Kings have gone 2-3 since their new head coach Alvin Gentry, which I think I talked about the Kings in one of my other videos, saying thank God they got rid of Luke Walton because he definitely, I don't even think he should have even been hired as a head coach for them. I really thought that Dave Yeager was doing a pretty decent job, and the Kings were, I think, a 9th seed back, like the last season of Dave Yeager. They were a 9th seed. They were on their way for playoffs, and then Luke Walton came around, and they just sort of stayed stagnant when they were on a really nice incline with their potential and where they were going. But I don't know, man. That team has also had like a lot of injury problems, and I think they're starting like Metu. I think that's his last name. Like they're starting Metu, and then that lineup is just so weird. I don't know. That team is just, it's still not there. It's really badly put together. They still have a lot of trade options to do with Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes. They have a lot of things that they need to figure out what to do, and man, it's gonna take a couple years before they probably get everything all cleaned up from whatever went down. I'm not saying that's all Luke Walton's fault, but that team is still a mess. 24, we have the San Antonio Spurs at 6-13. Again, the biggest downfall for San Antonio is that they're still a competitive team. They can still probably beat a pretty good majority of NBA squads out there because they just have so many pieces, and I really see this team being kind of like, I'm not comparing them completely to, but like a Brooklyn Nets of like 2018, 2019 Brooklyn Nets team, maybe more like 2019, 2020, when you just plop in a superstar and boom, it's a good team. Or like when Kawhi went to the Raptors. I mean, they really are just building a good squad together and then crossing their fingers for getting a superstar, whether it's through the draft, through trade, free agency. That's really all they really need. Because obviously with like Derek White, Kendall Johnson, DeJounte Murray, all those guys that they have out there, I mean, that team is definitely, it competes. I hope they don't, though, because I want them to lose, because I want them to get a good draft pick, because I want them to get that next, big time guy for their squad. 23, we have the Toronto Raptors at 9-13. Ooh, man, it seemed like the Raptors at some point in time were looking like they were gonna be that, competitive team. Like, oh my goodness, look, here they go. And then I think they started to get some injuries. I think OG Anunoby got hurt, and then I think even Scotty Barnes was hurt there for a little bit. I think Gary Trent Jr. is hurt right now. And then you plop in, like, hey guys, I'm Pascal Siakam. Remember me? I used to be the best player on this team. And now he's back in the lineup, and you're trying to fit him alongside Scotty Barnes. And, like, it's just like a weird, awkward thing. And now they're 9-13, which isn't bad. Obviously, it's still very doable. But, man, I'm still on the trade Pascal Siakam train, and I hope they do. I hope they find a good trade for him. I mean, man, if they could get like a good center out of him, that'd be amazing, because that's really what they need, or some sort of guard, some sort of perimeter play. I think would be really good for that team as well. But yeah, man, just a very average team that's just getting a lot of injuries right now, which I understand why they're getting lower and lower on the power rankings. Indiana Pacers at 22. Of course, injuries. That's just also the name of the game for the Indiana Pacers. I will say that Miles Turner is definitely looking pretty okay this season, which is definitely a good thing for them because obviously, he's definitely the biggest trade bait you have on your roster, and the better he looks, the better you can get back from him. And again, can you get a Wiseman and Kuminga from the Warriors for Miles Turner, build that sort of youth movement? I think that could be really cool. else, maybe a better fit piece alongside Sabonis, because obviously Sabonis is the guy they're going to build around. I mean, he's already an all-star, so the Pacers right now, again, they're just the average Pacers with a lot of injury problems. Yeah, and at number 21, you have the Memphis Grizzlies, and again, injuries. John Morant, thankfully, I can say that. Only, I think, a knee sprain is what he got. He had a pretty nasty injury. I think he got carried off the court and everything like that. It was pretty nasty, I think, if I remember. You know, it's not bad, I think, and I hope that they will take this injury very seriously, because obviously John Morant, people compare him to like a young Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook, yada yada yada. Obviously having good knees is what you need, so I just hope they take even like an extra week of precaution to make sure this guy is not even at 100% but 110% before he comes back to basketball, because I hope that the Grizzlies don't rush not only him, but the process of the Grizzlies trying to rebuild their entire franchise back, having Jaren Jackson, having Dylan Brooks, you know, all the role players, and obviously centerpiece of John Morant. I hope they don't try to rush that into, oh my god, we need to make the playoffs now, which they already did last year, which is great. That's overachieving for sure, but hopefully they take their time, realize they have, you know, another 10 years of this type of basketball to look forward to with John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. if they do keep them together. So, my goodness, wow. Okay, at 20th, we have the Dallas Mavericks at 20th. Aren't the Dallas Mavericks, let's see, aren't they like in like the 4th spot of the West, and they're ranking them at 20th? Yeah, they're 4th in the West, 11 and 9. That is so weird to think about. Why would they do that? I don't know. Hey, it is what it is. They should be way up higher on this list, because if anything, Dallas has just been the same Dallas team as last year, which, again, last year they were competing against arguably a team that maybe even could have been in the finals if Kawhi Leonard stayed healthy, you know what I mean? So, I think they're okay. I just feel like, obviously, there's not a lot of buzz around Dallas, because Luka is just being Luka Doncic, maybe even being a little bit less than Luka, but, I mean, I would like to think I watch a lot of basketball, and I haven't really heard a lot about Luka or the Mavericks, which, in my case, I think it might be a good thing that we're not overestimating on, oh my god, Luka Doncic's MVP season, or Mavericks may have a shot. I think right now, they're at expectation, which isn't bad. Definitely not 20th in the NBA. Oh yeah, and at 19th, we have the Denver Nuggets at 19th, and they should definitely be probably just getting down this list. They did just beat Miami the other night though, which is pretty good, but oh my goodness, dude, it's definitely pretty rough to be a Denver Nugget fan. I feel, and obviously me being a Blazer fan, like I understand what injuries are like, for sure. But man, like MPJ out for the year. I mean, we have no idea when Jamal Murray is coming back. He's not gonna be able to come back for at least a handful of months. And then PJ Dozier, another really young prospect, is also gonna be out. And then Jokic, I mean, he's been on and off a little bit this season as well, but he's still been putting up some major numbers, and their role players are still playing really good. I mean, you still have Aaron Gordon on your squad, who is just a really insane type of like role player to have. So I mean, I don't know. I think they're fine, and you know, looking into the future, I feel like they will still be a playoff team. But I mean, as a title contender, probably not anymore. I mean, a fully healthy Denver Nugget team could quite honestly win a title, if I'm being completely honest. But now, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, Jokic could probably even win another MVP this year, the way he's playing. At 18th, we have the Los Angeles Lakers at 12, and 11. Not bad, kind of almost in the middle of the pack, which again, I do understand. And I do understand where they are now, because LeBron, health and safety protocol now, which is just, it sucks. I mean, people saying it is, you know, COVID related, which is also kind of scary, but I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. I do still think they're obviously very competitive. Russell Westbrook is looking a little bit better, and Anthony Davis is looking a lot better, which is good. You just gotta hope that the others of the Lakers, like THT, who's having a pretty up and down season as of so far, Malik Monk, again, very streaky guy. Hopefully they can just stay consistent enough for when obviously LeBron comes back. which LeBron, when he did come back, I think he was averaging like 30 points per game in the last like 3 or 4 games he was playing, which is just absolutely insane. So again, just gotta keep it up, wait for LeBron to come back and run it back, and hopefully health can knock on wood, finally be on their side. Oh, man, yeah, at 17, which I think this team should actually be a lot lower than some of these other teams, but at 17, we have the Portland Trailblazers, and yes, of course they should be lower, because I mean, not only has Lillard is having the worst season of his entire career, he's also going to be out for the next 10 games, which I mean that's like what 6 games, maybe 7 games you could miss potentially. Well, maybe like 6 games, which is rough. That's pretty bad, honestly. They did play against the Detroit Pistons without him and looked pretty okay, but again, that's the Detroit Pistons. I think they play the Spurs and then the Celtics, and then I think they play like the Warriors again, which, man, that's going to be really rough. Anthony Simons definitely got to step up. Dennis Smith Jr. we have on our bench can maybe hopefully do something, maybe, I have no idea, but it's definitely time for CJ to step into that role and up his stock value, I guess. But I don't know, I think they'll be okay. They'll probably float about average, probably winning half of the games, but man, it's gonna suck for the Blazers for sure, and I'm definitely not gonna watch. At 16, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers, and of course, Cleveland injuries. Sexton and I think Mobley just came back from an injury, which is kind of nice to see, but I also think the Cavaliers should probably be lower on this list, not because I think, again, they're playing bad, I think they're playing good, but the circumstances that they're in, I don't see them being in a better place than, again, like a Dallas Mavericks team, or maybe even the Lakers. I think I would obviously rank above them just because of the placement that they're in right now. I think it's better, but I don't know. They're 11 and 10. Again, they're gonna dip. I say this every week, or at least every time I do a power ranking video. I think they will dip. They will dip at some point in time. I think their luck has run out. I think they have good pieces, but again, Colin Sexton being out and all these injuries that are off and on, I don't think they're there yet. For the Timberwolves, right dead center in the middle of the NBA at 15, and that's a good spot for them because the Timberwolves are actually making a little bit of a run right now. They are 11 and 10. They are 9th right now in the NBA West, which again, I assumed they would be at the start of this year. I thought they would be, yes, a playing team, maybe even competing for that 8th spot. Looks like it's starting to come true. It's just the fact that Anthony Edwards is playing really good. Karl Anthony Towns is still being that consistent, really good, dominant big. I will say that D'Angelo Russell has been, I may even say, a pretty big disappointment so far this year. He's definitely had, again, a lot of up and downs, but I mean, some games I've tuned in, he has only scored like 11 points in the entire game. It just hasn't looked the same, but again, when you're playing with a player like Anthony Edwards who has like superstar sort of potential, you definitely, I guess, have to give it up somewhere, and I think D'Angelo Russell is giving it to him, which I think might even help them out in the long run. At 14, we have the New York Knicks sitting at a record of also 11 and 10. Interesting. Of course, the Knicks kind of having an underwhelming season so far, and then the big news of Kemba Walker, not only being benched, but like completely out of the rotation, completely of the New York Knicks, which, I mean, I thought if they were gonna, stop with the Kemba Walker starting thing, I thought they would at least take him off the bench and just start Derrick Rose, but even then, they're not even starting Derrick Rose. I think they're starting Alec Burks in his place, and I think they're running like, I guess, RJ at point or someone else at point, which is kind of weird, but yeah, I don't know. And I mean, if Kemba Walker's in that sort of same predicament as John Wall, buyout, trade, I mean, again, if Kemba Walker gets bought out, that'd be insane. He could go to, again, a Clipper team, a 76er team. That'd be really interesting because, again, those teams are already very set in defense. Plopping in that spark on offense, even if he's coming off the bench, that could be very special. That'd be really cool to watch. Number 13, we have the Philadelphia 76ers, and finally getting the return of Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris finally starting to, hopefully get some games in with the entire team there, because there were a couple weeks I feel like it's been the Andre Drummond and Tyrese Maxey show in Philadelphia, which actually wasn't that bad of a little thing they did there. They are 11 and 10, and they skid pretty far least the next couple games, or at least they sat tonight against the Kings. They lost because obviously not having Paul George or Kawhi Leonard is really bad. But yeah, I don't know. That team is really loaded with players, and they're waiting for the Kawhi Leonard return. Maybe it will be in April. Maybe it will be before then. I don't know, but I just don't really see them being in a better spot than the Sixers or some of these other teams they mentioned. I think they should be a little bit lower, but that's mostly because Paul George, I don't think he's going to be playing a whole lot anymore. Then at 11 they have the Hawks, which again kind of high. I think 11 and 10 for the Hawks right now. They're 7th, or actually they're 12 and 10. My bad, they're 12 and 10. Also a team that's definitely not doing so hot. Very underwhelming season. But I think they're a team that's probably going to be revving it up at the second half of the year, kind of like how they did it last season, having, a poor start to the first half of the year, the second half of the year being super red hot and then making a big push in the playoffs. Hopefully that's what they're doing this season, and just again having a big push into the playoffs this year. But they did go on a pretty good win streak there, and they're starting to find their way back into things, which is good, and I do believe in them. But again, I think it's just going to be like, again, first half not so good, second half really good. Going in with the top 10, we have the Charlotte Hornets at number 10, and man, have they been looking really fun. And they're definitely one of those teams where, I mean, and if they make a trade at some point in time in the season, man, this team could look really dangerous. I think right now they are a pretty set team, obviously, with LaMelo Ball playing the way he is, Miles Bridges playing the way he is, and all the other guys too, looking good. But I mean, again, I hope they don't, expect to really do anything super duper crazy within the next even handful of years. I think they are a really good team, and I really hope they do keep this core together, just adding in pieces here and there, and definitely needing depth for sure on the team as well. But this team is looking pretty dangerous, not gonna lie. 9, we have the Washington Wizards at 9, 13 and 8, definitely probably the surprise team of the year. Probably gonna give a coach of the year sort of nominee for their head coach. Who is it? Wes Unseld Jr. Did he get fired? I have no idea. It's whoever their coach is probably gonna get nominated for coach of the year, because they're definitely doing a pretty good job. And like Montrezl Harrell, like what got into him? Like he's actually having production, which obviously on the Lakers had none of that. Which I understand the Lakers had a pretty set in stone way of basketball, having like a big, obviously like Dwight or DeAndre playing at certain points in time. It didn't really have a place for Montrez. Obviously in Washington, really showing that he's doing pretty well over there in Washington. And then the fact that Bradley Beal doesn't have to be superhero Bradley Beal to win these games. It's looking pretty good, honestly, for them. And I think right now, let's actually see the standings where they're at. They are second in the East. At 8, we have the Boston Celtics at 11 and 10. Wow, the Celtics are really high up on their standings. Wow, they are 12 and 10 right now, which again, pretty average. They're 8th in the NBA East, which again, I don't want to say is where they should be, but definitely not in a bad spot, I guess you could say. Pretty average, and I think they are starting to finally figure out a little bit more on what they need and how they can win these games. They did just beat the Boston Celtics. Did just beat the Philadelphia 76ers, which obviously is a pretty good feat to have, but I don't know. Would I still trust this team in a playoff series against maybe any of the other contenders of the East? Probably not. But I feel like they're definitely in a better spot than when they were even at the beginning of the year. I feel like they're finally catching a good groove right now. Hopefully they continue on with that. At 7, they have the Chicago Bulls. Wow, the 4th team in the East, sitting at 14 and 8. Interesting. 7th. They're definitely not as hot as they were at the start of the year. They're definitely dropping more games, but that's going to continue on for the entire year, especially with a team that has youth on it, of course, with Zach LaVine and Kobe White and yada yada yada. They do have some younger players, a younger head coach who doesn't really know this team all that well. If anything, they're still overachieving. They're still having a really good year, still way above where I thought they were going to be. Miami. It's like for a lot of other sort of these title contender teams, just gotta be healthy at the right point in time, and already not doing so hot upon that with some Jimmy Butler injuries, and Kyle Lowry I think also was in and out for a little bit there too. Does kind of suck, but number 6 spot, not bad. At 5 we have the Milwaukee Bucks, and finally again health starting to slowly come back to the Bucks with Middleton and Drew Holiday and all them coming back. I did watch their game against the Charlotte Hornets last night. I was recording this video, and holy cow, like, I mean, not only did Charlotte look really good, but the Bucks really being composed in a very, very tough scenario when a lot of the Hornets players were looking really super hot from the field. They really took that game over, which again tells the tale of them being, really good, true title contenders, of staying really cool under heated pressures like that. And man, they're still, they might still be my pick to come out of the East as of right now. I have no idea what the Nets are going to be doing in a couple months from now, but man, the Bucks, they're really starting to find that good flow. They're third right now in the East. The Wizards are second, and I would hope we would all agree that I think the Bucks are probably better than the Wizards, but yeah, I don't know. I think they're in a good spot. At 4, we have the Utah Jazz, and again, Jazz, not a team that a lot of people, or at least are talking a whole lot about. They are third right now in the NBA, and I feel like we've all established that they are, a good team that's going to be probably a top 3 seed in this year. So that's probably why the super craziness of Utah that came from last year isn't really there anymore. And interesting, where were they again? What was it? 4th. I'll go with 4th, 14-7. I could probably think of I could probably name 3 other teams that I'd probably rank over them, but I think, yes, this is a good spot for them. Their schedule has been kind of easy, though, now that I'm looking at it, so I think they are, again, kind of where they should be. Nothing too crazy, so Utah, looking pretty good. Number 3, a team I'd rank over them, the Brooklyn Nets. Of course, Brooklyn finally having a pretty fire James Harden return sort of game, which was really fun to watch for sure. Him having that really crazy dunk as well, that was really fun to watch in their latest game. Right now they are 15-6, which is a good spot for them. And it's so funny because, like, man, I remember seeing Twitter, serious Twitter post on people saying Kevin Durant needs more help. Kevin Durant, oh my god, look at all these guys around him being injured, blah blah blah. Please stop, do not start this Kevin Durant, oh my god, help me sort of thing going on. KD, completely fine. MVP candidate, James Harden still playing like an all-star. The Nets are the number 1 team in the East, they just need to calm down. They're in an extremely good spot right now. The top 2 teams in the NBA, you could probably guess it, and they faced off against each other very, 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 very recently. It's the Golden State Warriors, though, at number 2, and the Phoenix Suns, yes, the number 1 team in the NBA. Do you agree or disagree? Agree or disagree? Definitely let me know down in the comments, but yeah, I don't know. I do think right now they are the 2 hottest teams in the NBA, probably behind again, probably ahead again of the Brooklyn Nets, which again makes a lot of sense, but yeah, the Phoenix Suns are just on a crazy win streak, and you can't really beat that. So I think they are they are, as of right now, I think as well the number 1 team, not only because of how well they're playing together, but obviously in the most recent of power rankings, you can only rank these guys based on how they're playing right now, and they are the hottest team. And man, Chris Paul, in his crazy leadership that he showed against that team in the Warrior game, man, he just looked like a young Chris Paul, like a playoff Chris Paul. Like, that game was insane. Chris Paul really led that team even without having Devin Booker on that team, and God, Mikal Bridges is